Love stories from movies always end good, but real-life things work differently. A story of pretty girl from Sacramento was too far from movies. The story started good, but fast went out of control and led to a bloody tragedy. Sarah Douglas was born in big family in 1987. They lived in Sacramento, California. She had 5 brothers and sisters. Her parents, dedicated to providing a nurturing environment, instilled in her a strong sense of self and the confidence to chase after her dreams. Sarah was always in pursuit of something new, something exciting. She had an innate ability to make people feel seen and heard. Fate has a funny way of bringing people together, and so it was with Sarah Douglas and Orville Fleming. She met Orville Fleming on her escort duty. That's how the fire chief and Sarah Douglas met, and they became a couple. Orville Fleming, a seasoned firefighter, he was no ordinary man, a man of stature and respect in his community. Orville was a family man married for 30 years. His work was his life, and he took great pride. With a career spanning over 3 decades, he was a highly respected professional in the firefighting community, but not many knew he was a man with a naughty habit. As it was discovered, he cruised a website advertising female escorts, fetishes, and other services. Fleming filed for divorce and moved the 24-year-old Douglas into his home in Sacramento. Sarah Douglas quickly upgraded from escort to fiancé. Their relationship was a whirlwind, filled with intense emotions and a deep, undeniable connection. It was a love story that seemed to defy the odds, a love story that was just beginning. However, beneath the surface of their passionate relationship, there were undercurrents of tension. The differences between them, initially a source of fascination, gradually became a cause of friction. Their relationship, like a slow-burning fuse, was inching towards an explosive end. Their love story was just beginning, but little did they know it would end in tragedy. What began as a passionate love story soon turned into a chilling tale of manipulation and control. Sarah Douglas, a woman of vivacity and spirit, found herself entangled in a relationship that would soon become a nightmare. Orville Fleming, a man of authority in his profession as a fire battalion chief, carried a different persona behind closed doors. He was a man accustomed to command, a trait that began to seep into his relationship with Sarah. The initial days of their love story were filled with an intense passion that was soon replaced with a toxic pattern of control and manipulation. As time passed, the red flags became more prominent. Orville's possessive nature began to manifest itself in various ways. He insisted on knowing Sarah's every move, isolating her from her friends and family. His jealousy was not just a sign of affection, it was a tool for control. Sarah's vibrant spirit began to fade. The woman known for her zest for life was slowly transforming into a shadow of her former self. Yet she clung to the hope that the man she fell in love with was still there, hidden beneath the layers of jealousy and control. The events leading up to Sarah's death were a culmination of this toxic relationship. The arguments increased, the fights became more frequent, and the manipulation turned deadlier. The love story they began writing together was slowly turning into a tragic tale. Orville's controlling nature escalated to the point of no return. In a fit of rage, he did the unthinkable. The man who Sarah had once loved, the man she had hoped would change, became the cause of her untimely demise. In a shocking twist, the man Sarah loved would become her killer. In the quiet hours of the night, Sarah Douglas met her tragic end. On a Saturday night, Douglas came home after partying with her mom and sister at a nearby casino. Fleming was waiting at home. Sarah Douglas makes a tearful phone call to her sister when the line suddenly goes dead. When cops get to the house, they follow a sinister trail. A bloody knife, blood spots on the tiles and smeared on the wall, and in a dimly lit bedroom, a grisly discovery. They find Douglas's lifeless body on the floor. Blood samples, fingerprints led police the final moments of Sarah's life, pointing them to Orville. She was stabbed at least 14 times and strangled by a bedsheet. Orville brutally ended Sarah's life in the home they shared. But Orville Fleming was nowhere to be found. This person was responsible for the murder, and it's not just a murder, it was a very brutal and violent attack. An all-points bulletin goes out for the capture and arrest of Orville Fleming, but finding the 24-year veteran of the fire department would be tricky. Fleming had survivalist skills and knowledge of the Sierra Nevada region close to where he lived. The initial shock quickly turned into a frantic search for Orville, who had vanished without a trace. Orville had seemingly disappeared, leaving behind a trail of questions and a community in fear. The authorities launched a comprehensive search, employing every resource at their disposal. But it was the evidence left behind at the scene of the crime that ultimately led to Orville's capture. But it was the evidence left behind at the scene of the crime that ultimately led to Orville's capture. Police took testimonies of those who knew the couple, and the mounting physical evidence, the authorities were able to piece together the tragic events of that fateful night. After a 16-day manhunt, hunger and heat flushed out the fire chief. Fleming, hiding in plain sight, had been hunkered down for days in shrubs in Elk Grove, California, not far from his Sacramento home. All the high-tech tools used to try to pin him down were no match for the eyes of the deputy who watched Fleming get on a bus, headed out for food. Sheriff arrest Orville Fleming, book him and begin a jailhouse interrogation, wherein Fleming details the horrific events of that tragic night, which he says all started with a heated argument. The trial that followed was a media frenzy. The prosecution presented an overwhelming body of evidence against Orville. His defense, on the other hand, argued for a crime of passion, a momentary lapse of judgment. Fleming said, "And then at some point in time I got up, I went into the kitchen and I got that big knife, and I went back in there and I threatened her with it. She told me I don't have the balls, she told me. I remember stabbing her the first time, because I've been laying in the bushes for a long time thinking about this. I don't remember anything in the middle of that, until the very end. I was sitting on her waist, she was face down between the wall and the bed, and it was all done, I stabbed her, I killed her." Fleming alleges that Sarah Douglas was fuming when she found out her husband-to-be bought her a cheap engagement ring with a fake diamond from Walmart. Boy, she loved it at the time, but when she found out it was fake, it became an issue for her. I took her pulse. I could see that she wasn't breathing or had no pulse. At that point in time, I didn't really know what I was going to do. I mean, I really didn't. No one plans for this. I guess some people plan for this. I drove for a moment and then I'm like thinking, what the hell am I going to do? What he tried to do was kill himself 3 times that night by attempting to slit his wrists, by filling his garage with carbon monoxide, and by getting hit by a train. I was going to go lay on the train tracks. That's what I was going to do. That astonishing jailhouse confession sealed Fleming's fate. A jury found the former battalion chief guilty of second-degree murder. Orville Fleming was sentenced to 16 years to life in prison after his fiery temper led to the murder of his fiancée. 16 firefighters were placed on paid administrative leave during the investigation that followed Fleming's arrest. Fleming may have used other escorts from the same company that he used to originally hire Douglas when they first met. Police believed that Fleming, who had been dating Douglas for 2 years, had continued to use the escort website after her death. It is though that he picked up someone he had met on the site just moments after Miss Douglas was stabbed, before fleeing. Despite the tragedy, Sarah Douglas is remembered not for her tragic end, but for the life she lived. A life full of dreams, aspirations, and love for those around her. She was more than just a name in a headline, more than just a victim in a true crime story. Sarah's story is a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurks beneath the surface, but also a testament to the human spirit and the lives she touched.